We'll have a series of special reports looking at the issues important to voters. Well, in the past decade, India has drastically improved public access to schools, but critics say the quality of education remains poor. And as Surabji Tandon now reports, that's pushing many families to spend their savings on private school fees.
A decade ago, India decided that it would implement an ambitious plan to put every child under the age of 14 in school. The challenge was considerable. The country would have to ensure education for an estimated 125 million children. 10 years on, India has been able to achieve significant success. The national enrollment rate today is at 97%. In this school in rural Punjab, nearly 200 children study thanks to state aid.
The government has given us a lot of facilities. Kids who come from families that are below the poverty line are given stipends. Books, uniforms, food are all taken care of. The kids don't need to bring anything from home. They simply have to walk themselves to school and study.
But how much are the children actually learning? According to data collected by an NGO Pratham, the quality of education has declined over the last 9 years. For instance, the proportion of children in class 5 who can read a class 2 level text has dropped by almost 15% since 2005.
As we just saw, there are many kids whose actual level of learning does not match that of their class. Several reasons for this. In some schools, there is a lack of teachers. There's also a lot of variation in the quality of teaching.
To overcome the poor standards of education in government schools, an increasing number of parents are looking elsewhere for help. Mangru, a domestic help in New Delhi, has decided to get his son all the extra help that his limited income can afford.
In government schools, the kids don't learn properly, so I take him to a private tuition class so he can study well. Of course, meeting the expenses for this is difficult, but I work hard and try and earn that money for the sake of my son.
At this private tuition center, students can focus on the subjects they are weakest at.
Here is someone else now.
The children are prepared to work hard to overcome the odds.
We do learn in school, but it's not always consistent. Sometimes the teachers don't show up. Other times they tell us to do our homework in class, or we're given a free period. So we're not able to learn as much as we'd like to.
The Asar Research Center annually publishes reports that analyze the state of education in India.
The news is that children are in school, but we have to work much harder to bring their learning levels up. But I think in our system, we have more than 50 or 60% who have difficulty, which means that there is nothing wrong with the children. But as adults, curriculum, teaching needs to change to help children make the right kind of progress.
Even if the solution is a shift of focus on the approach to education, for now, many parents seem to have found an answer in private schools. Asar data also reveals that enrollment in private schools is on a steady rise. These schools usually have more accountability and are able to give their students more personalized education. But because of the relatively higher costs, only about 25% of Indian children can study in such schools.
It gives us good education, like one of the best. So if you take good education, then you can do better things in your life.
With the legislation of the Right to Education Act, free and compulsory schooling will be granted to all under the age of 16. This means that the task to bridge the gap between quantity and quality of education just got trickier for the government of India.
Well, time for a short break here on France 24. When we come back, the United States has thrown its weight behind the new government in Ukraine, but just how far will Washington go in its bid to isolate Moscow? More on that with our Washington correspondent Phil Crowther right after this.
The Observers.
Take a new look at the news. Eyewitness accounts from those at the heart of the action, all over the world. Exclusive videos you've never seen before, all verified by our journalists.
The Observers, en France 24 and France24.com.